welcome to kind of the first full day at the monastery. And I kind of want to go over the day, what happened, how it works, and kind of the overall experience of what it has been like to be here. So first of all, it is a Roman Catholic monastery. So you have, I'm not sure the exact term in English, but monks, whatever you want to call it, Catholic monks that worship the religion. And so they live here, they have their fields, they take care of everything, so they're fully self-sufficient in everything. And they have their own space, and then you have the guest house where like people can come and stay, and you can then attend their daily prayers, which I believe it's 7 that they do throughout the day. First starts at 3:15 a.m. and the last one finishes at 7:30 or something in the evening. And then throughout the day you can also attend them. It's in a very beautiful template. But you also don't have to. You can just walk around to, the surroundings, or you can stay all day in your room. So it's very basically up to you how you're gonna structure the day, whatever you're gonna do. And then you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can attend those as well with other people that are here. And then you share kind of the responsibilities of like helping preparing the breakfast, setting up everything on the table, doing a prayer before each meal and after the meal. Then you can also, then you also have to, clean everything, because it's not like the monks that come and clean it, but it's up to every person to help and kind of contribute to that as well. But other than that, like that's kind of like your interaction with people. But other than that, like you don't have to interact with anyone. You can completely like kind of cut yourself away from everything. But that's like the main kind of structure of the day. Then me as well, who came here with that priest. What I've done so far today was to talk with him, have like a session, and just talk about anything, like whether it's life related or questions about the religion, the church, anything like you can think of, you can ask. So we total spend good amount of hours to just chatting, talking, explaining, answering my questions. And what I want to point out is that I'm not like a full Christian, or like I worship God or anything like that. It's more about questioning the narrative of our own existence and figuring out what is the most accurate, appropriate belief for life form that we are living in. And that's kind of challenging on its own. So it's not about, that I am this kind of version of religious boy and then just trying to like do this. But it's really more about figuring out what is worth to live for, the life that we have been given in the most fulfilling, promising way that there is. And that's kind of what been very nice about today is talking about everything openly and kind of allowing the barriers to kind of fall down and be very open about the possibilities. And it's not about what he says is true, but it's a very discussion about anything, because even though you can imagine that it's a priest who's been, doing this for a long time, it's also questioning the beliefs of his, or answering, or not necessarily questioning his beliefs, but questioning the beliefs. Do they really mean what they mean? What does this mean? How does this answer? How does this connect? So you can do all that. It's in some way questioning, but even like asking, like, molesting a child, what happened at the church and how it was handled, why it wasn't handled in some other ways, how the church approached it, how it has happened, what happened when it all started to coming out, and why there were not any like proper steps that we kind of consider should be taken. So you can also ask these tough questions, or like about, prosecution of witches and wizards, or whatever we want to call it. Those questions you can discuss. You can also discuss whether like the resurrection of Jesus Christ really happened, and so no question is off the table, and I think that's very kind of nice to experience, and kind of also as an individual, if you're open to listen to the possibilities and not taking an answer as the true answer of God or your own truth that is supported by your narrative through your experience and all this other stuff. It's very, I would say, opening, but to kind of guide you to what so far I've came across in my life in the past month and a half or so. It's not the reflection of a month and a half, but it's a reflection of the full 30 years of life that has been shaping the form of experience, knowledge, wisdom, all that, to what it is today, and why actually I'm here. So for the past 5 years, I would say I struggle with goals and what to achieve in life, what is of value to me as a man, what I want to become, what I want to do with my life, what I want to become, and much more. And so recently I reread two books, which was Homo Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, and Five Levels of Attachment. And as I've been going through some experiences in my own personal life, kind of opening these two books, I now consider, or like view as a God school in some ways, because learning about a full history, even though I've read the book before, only now it started all coming together with all the pieces of doing therapy, finding my own way to what God means, what Christianity, what the religion means to me, why do I consider it even like an interest of mine, and then also learning again like through history was very fascinating. That when we look at today's world and how complicated everything is, how difficult it is for men, women, for everyone, how these wars are connected to like benefiting a small amount of particular people, how we still like are struggling with anxiety, stress, why more men killing themselves than ever before, why there's so much crisis, kind of the conspiracy about COVID, like did it really happen, was it orchestrated or not. When you think about like every day of the craziness that happens and is spit out onto us, rereading the history and kind of how we evolved has been nothing but a true magic of understanding of us a little bit. And the point of what I'm trying to say is, in the book, the narrative goes, you have Neanderthals, Sapiens, Denisovs, and other. And in the essence of what we know and what we also don't know is that we couldn't exist in some 60, 50, 70 years ago outside of a group of 100 or 150 or more. It was always these small numbers. And when you think about it, it makes sense because we're naturally designed to have a connection with thousands, hundreds of people. It's a very small particular number, and it kind of runs around 100, 150 the most. To really have a community, sense of community, because that's always what we thrive for, like to have a sense of community. And nowadays, like everything's so divided, there's no connection, there's no community, like it's all just kind of designed to separate us from the natural way. And anyhow, the kind of when sapiens started to migrate into North Europe from Middle East and Africa, the kind of theory is, because we don't know, there's like literally no evidence that would prove this is the truth. So the most accurate we can like assess is that around like 40, 50 years ago, the sapiens, because that was like the size of our brain, was pretty much what we have today. So compared to like Neanderthals that were smaller, shorter, and with smaller brain. So as like evolutionary, when you can think about like wars and conquering and everything, like we always stronger, smarter, more like evolutionary advanced species takes over the weaker. And so they kind of can look at it that sapiens did that to Neanderthals as well. Not to all of them, but in some sense we connected. But most of the kind of theory is that because the DNA of like 2 to 6% can be traced to Neanderthals, but not more than that. So the kind of theory that some mixed together, but most of them, the sapiens killed off the Neanderthals. And the thing is to be advanced and create a place where like you can live outside of 150 people and create 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 communities that can function together. You have to have something that makes them to do that. And so there's a theory that we, or the sapiens, gone through some mutation that happened, and that way we were able to create the imaginary world of delusion and illusion in us to be able to reach, to be part of, to create the communities of more than 1,000, 10,000 and more people to what we know now. And you have a city of New York size of 13 million people that can function together. And so when you think about concepts like this, and you think about what does a state mean, what does a country mean, what does a law mean, what does this soccer club of yours that you've been a fan of for as long as you can remember. When you start thinking about concepts like this, it's a very hard, very challenging to question all your beliefs, all your kind of things, how you perceive the world. And for me, it has been nothing but rewarding. And then reading the five levels of attachment book is kind of supporting all of this, because when you take a life form as a baby, when like a life is created, it's nothing but a miracle. And it's very, when the baby is born, it's very, trying to look for the word now, it's a miracle. It's a sense of nothingness, but such a beauty, and no imprinted belief onto that. And that comes later. So let's call it domestication, right? When like your parents put beliefs in you, like you better be a good boy, otherwise you don't get any of the chocolate, or you better be a good boy, otherwise grandma will get mad, or you have to play good if you want to become something good, right? So like all these beliefs that like if we don't do this, then we're bad. If you don't succeed in this, in many instances, families like you're not good, it's not worth doing, right? So all these beliefs are imprinted on you through domestication. And then when you turn 18 and kind of can leave the house and everything, you face the true world of other level of things, right? And you're not fully prepared for it in many cases. And what I'm trying to explain through this is that the matrix, this deep state and all this, it's very imaginary. And nowadays, I think that's why like a lot of people are being attacked by questioning all this, is that all of this imaginary kind of controlled environment that is to enslave and imprison people in their minds, imprison them in their beliefs, and all what we've been seeing and the existence of things is being threatened. And even though it might sound harsh, it's actually very beautiful, because once you're able to look beyond and through all the layers that have been kind of drilled, imprinted into us, is very freeing. Because once you have that free mind, and that's what people talk about, free mind, free will, free choice, free of your own choice, is when you are able to go through all these layers and realize that all the things we've known no longer exist. In some way they do exist. What I'm trying to say is that you exist into these realms, because like reality, like you can touch the wood, you can touch the water, you can touch the tree, like all these creations exist. But the imaginary of like this law, if you do this, like that's all imaginary, like to make people believe like this is it, and if you do this, this is it. But if you're able to look beyond this, and with any belief and any connection, what your friend told you is good for you, or your parent told you if you don't do this then your life is gonna suck because then you don't have control over this and that, is all very, very soul stealing, I would call it. So it's important, I believe, is to be able to get through all these layers and understand the concepts of why the world operates on the way it operates, because these things can be explained. And then with no domestication of your beliefs that been get onto you, when you get back into the being a small baby just being born, that you can make your own choices and that you can make those choices freely as a human being that was given this life with no touch to any of this imaginary concept, is when you truly, I believe, you are truly a human being that has a free mind, free will, freedom to choose what you choose based on what you connect with. And so I know that this kind of what I'm talking about might be hard to kind of grasp your brain around, and it definitely took me a while, and I still kind of struggle with it. But I've tried a lot of concepts in my life. A lot of bad things happen to me or happen for me, and a lot of things I happened to do to others, because that's just part of life and it's very natural for a human being. This all makes the most sense out of what I've been so far able to understand. And then, doing therapy, connecting with Christianity, religion, whatever the religion is, and then also doing the work on yourself. And as there's a saying, how love, and that's maybe another concept that we can get to at some point. You have love, and there's the layer of love that's just like very, very thin, but then you have love that is made out of strong rope, right? And typically the rope has three another smaller ropes connecting together. So you can think about the self-work, connecting with religion or God, you want to call it, and therapy in some ways as well. It's very beneficial. Connecting that together seems a very strong foundation for a human being to get to these concepts and make sense out of them, because in some ways therapy, psychology, psychiatry, doesn't matter, in some ways it's keep saying the same thing as religion, or self-work, but the point is it has such a different communication language that you have to go through all of them to see the dots and how it all kind of crossing each other and complementing and supporting each other. But only then I think you can truly see the facts of the reality of what it all is. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. It actually just went very deep, I would say. I didn't want it to, or realize like it might be too much. But I think I'm just gonna call this video like a full day at the monastery or something like that, or maybe discovering the existence of human life and what it means. I don't know yet. It's actually going to be fun to look at this once I'm back. But actually I just wanted to be very honest and kind of very open and not have this controlled narrative of like cutting fast pace and these kind of montages and everything. It's I think very important to sit down and talk, and I think that's why mediums like podcast or like these longer videos where you're able to explain much more. And then if you have a viewer who's willing to listen, not necessarily saying that they have to accept it or anything like that, it's very, I would hope that at least someone will listen and be open to the possibilities, because it's more important, and that's one point in the book, 5 Level of Attachment, is to constantly be questioning your beliefs, to be constantly questioning where it's coming from, and only then you can grow to not have this the 5th level of attachment, which is phantasm, in the worst way possible, and we kind of see it in the world now, in some ways. So questioning that, it's very important. And what I'm saying right now, it's also, could it be truly that, but also could be in some way something else. So I think it's very important to keep in mind that it's not just black and white and this one side is wrong, this one's right, but it's all collectively, as a human being, we are all in the ways we are all equal, as a human being level, that we're born here, and that is something so special, that we all are not different. We are different in heights, we are different in color, we are different in style of hair, we are different in what we believe, we are different in many ways, but those beliefs and those systems are designed. And so the true humanity is we're all equal, and that's such a beautiful concept that we don't emphasize enough, we don't show enough, we don't work on it enough, we don't connect on that enough, we do anything to go against it. And it's important that we actually start doing that, and hope in some time we can improve the present moment that would serve us more, as we are getting more connected through economy, and everything is so much more connected that if one thing collapses, the other one is affected, and instead of thriving here together in the most precious, healthiest way possible, supporting each other is very, I think, tough to do. In my lifetime, I don't think I will see that. I think I'm worried about more other things, but I think that's a topic for another video. So I don't know for how long I talked, maybe 20-30 minutes, but I would like to leave it like this today. Tomorrow, depends how it goes, because the kind of snow, rain, all types of weather happened today, and the day, it's not very structured, it's very just kind of how it flows, even though there is a structure with the breakfast and the prayers. But we'll see how it goes, and we'll see what kind of other topic I can bring tomorrow, because I would like to actually bring something unique